TaxAct's filing software and live tax experts can help small businesses easily knock out their taxes. Actually, our experts can help you find deductions and credits for any sized business. Itty-bitty businesses, medium-sized, really big, mid-sized, small businesses, companies with 0 employees, and mom-and-pop conglomerates. Yep, our tax experts can help all of them. TaxAct. Let's get them over with.
Are you a lifelong fan of General Hospital?
Are you a new fan who wants to know more about the history of the show?
Do you enjoy talking about the show with others?
Do you find yourself yelling at the TV?
Is your self-care an hour a day in Port Charles?
If so, we invite you to join hosts
Amanda Kimmel
and Shannon Coach at the place where all the hidden conversations take place and secrets are revealed.
Meet us at Pier 54,
a General Hospital fan podcast. Hello.
Hi.
Welcome to the Port Charles 411. Today, we are talking about Steve Weber. I did check Stephen Lars Weber. I did check a few YouTubes. It really does go back and forth. I was right. Olivia pretty much just calls him Steve, but it really goes back and forth a lot. So I don't know.
I think it just depends on like when you met him, your age in comparison to him, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So we are using our fandom. We have kind of talked about him because we have talked about Jeff Weber. We've talked about Heather Weber. Those are his parents. I am actually surprised. So the reason that we're doing Steve Weber in the middle of our lucky 411s is because Steven Weber just showed up on October 24th, 2024. I'm actually really surprised that they did not recast. Thankful.
So thankful. Yeah. He's another one that has to be him.
Well, we'll get to that too. But Jeff Weber was Richard Dean Anderson, who Scott Reeves kind of resembles. Like, he looks like he could be MacGyver's son.
Yes.
Most recent Jeff Weber did not look like MacGyver.
No.
Sadly. At all. Of course, we always think of like the back in the day, what MacGyver looked like.
Yeah.
I don't think he looks like that anymore.
Probably not, but I don't want to think about that.
No, we're thinking about MacGyver. Okay. Anyway.
Yes.
General Hospital did not have MacGyver. But Stephen Lars, quote, Steve Weber, is a fictional character from the ABC soap opera General Hospital. Good thing, because this is what our podcast is about. He is the son of Dr. Jeff Weber and his ex-wife, supervillain. She's a supervillain?
I don't think she's supervillain status yet. I think they're giving her a little extra boost there.
I think that her being the Hook bumped her up to supervillain, but now finding out that it was because the cobalt poisoning, maybe we just need to go back to, but she did do a lot of stuff with LSD. All right, anyway, he is also the grandson of the late Steve Hardy. He was born in 1977, and the character has been portrayed by 3 actors. He was Martin Hewitt when the character first appeared on the show at the age of 2. In 2004, the character returned being portrayed by Sean Benson, and he was written off the canvas in May 2005. And if you scroll down and look at the picture of Sean Benson, this is kind of what I scrolled out on Sunday during the Monday's recap. He looks like the guy that sings the Free Credit Report song, and I was trying to find out who he was. He is not. Or am I thinking of something else, and for whatever reason, that is what's in my mind? Yeah, he is not the Free Credit Report.com song guy. And then the one that we know the most, even though we were watching like 2004 and everything, I feel like the one that we really got to know was Scott Reeves.
Because he had the relationship with Olivia and all that, and was with Olivia during all the Dante Lulu stuff in the beginning. So I feel like he has a special place.
All right, so get us started on Stephen Lars.
When Stephen was conceived in 1977, Jeff was a newlywed married to Monica Bard, who was having an affair with Jeff's brother, Rick Weber. Jeff then had an affair with Heather, a scheming nanny who though when Heather became pregnant, Jeff told her to get an abortion since he wanted to stay with his wife, Monica.
And that is now Monica Quarterman.
They had birth control back then. You should make sure that your mistress is on some birth control if you don't want babies.
So should he. It's not just the woman's responsibility.
No, I said you should make sure your mistress is on birth control so that you don't have to worry about it.
Yes, but he should also be doing his part.
Oh, yeah, sure. Well, I don't know. I feel like if they were in a committed mistress relationship, maybe he didn't feel he needed to do that. I don't know. I don't know what those rules are. Anyway, Heather had the baby, Stephen, and sold him to Peter Taylor and his wife, Diana Taylor, for $10,000, though she told Jeff that the baby had died. Later, when Monica divorced Jeff, he married Heather in 1978, still not knowing about the child. The relationship was strained when Heather got a job as her own child's nanny. The child was now going by the name Peter Taylor Jr. In the winter of 1979, Heather became obsessed with seeing her son. She had planned to put LSD in the adoptive mother Diana Taylor's drink to make her go insane, but little Peter accidentally swapped the glasses and Heather lost her own mind. Jeff was forced to institutionalize her, and after Peter Taylor Sr. died, Diana learned the truth about Stephen while going through her husband's effects, finding a note which said, PJ is Stephen Lars. Afraid to lose her child, she tried to woo Jeff for herself. He still did not know the child was his until 1981 when Diana finally told him. Diana and Heather continued to compete for Jeff's attention and plotting to kill each other to remove a rival. I want to know, like how long that went on. Like every day it was like, let's go to the grocery store and run her over. Let's go here. Like they're plotting all the time. And then one day a scuffle
They need that as a Snapped series. Snapped, failed.
Yeah. Oh, that would be good. That would be sad, but that'd be good. You could learn a lot, not what not to do.
Well, but the purpose of Snapped is most of them were not planned. Most. Definitely some of them happen, but a lot of them are.
Right. It's supposed to be that you snapped in that moment.
Yeah. I mean, I guess taking LSD.
Yeah, that might make you snap.
Maybe.
But a scuffle ensued and Diana was accidentally killed by Heather's mother, Alice Grant, though Alice tried to frame Annie Logan for the murder. Jeff then took his infant son, renamed him from Peter Taylor Jr. to Stephen Lars Weber, and left town to keep him safe from Heather's plotting. In 2004, Stephen, now a doctor, returns to Port Charles. He works for John Durant as a physician specializing in forensic medicine to help get to Carly Corinthos. He also gets a job at General Hospital as a pediatrician. Those seem like very different jobs, but okay. He briefly dates Carly and Rachel Adair and eventually leaves town. In December of 2009, Monica Quartermain announces that she is resigning as chief of staff of GH and that her replacement has been chosen. Dr. Stephen Weber is excited to take on the role of his late grandfather and namesake, Dr. Steve Hardy. He says that he has been working.
Found that video. And that was the debut of Scott Reeves, was December 9th, 2009. He was wearing the same jacket that he was wearing.
Yay!
That's a hot jacket.
It is.
That's a cool jacket.
Good. Like
you can tell that we're a certain age when like that is what impresses us. We're like, that is a great jacket.
Well, just his whole look. Like there are certain men that could not pull off those jeans either. Like I would look at them and be like, meh, that's not the right look. But he looks good in it. Like he's got it.
Mm-hmm.
He says that he's been working in Memphis as the head of a hospital trauma unit. He later also states that when he was 13, his grandfather told him to never show up empty-handed when taking a girl out. I don't know what that has to do with anything, but okay. He now
bringing flowers or bringing chocolates.
But like, where does that come into the conversation? Like, I'm your new chief of staff, and I never go on a date without flowers.
Tell me true truths and a lie.
He now goes mostly by Steve, becomes good friends with his fellow doctors, Robin Scorpio, her husband, Patrick Drake, and Lisa Niles.
Well, I guess that just answers that now, doesn't it?
Right? There you go.
Oops.
Patrick is a little jealous when Steve and Lisa go to a Tim McGraw concert together after they discover they both like his music. Lisa wonders why such a decent guy like him isn't with anyone, especially if he brings flowers to every first date.
And takes you to Tim McGraw? Heck yeah.
Right. Wearing that leather jacket. Oh my.
With his barbecue stain on his white t-shirt.
He opens up to her about his girlfriend Charlotte, who he was planning on marrying. The day before the proposal, Charlotte reveals she and his best friend are getting married. They are currently expecting their first child. Lisa and Steve later have a one-night stand. Steve notices Patrick is jealous over his relationship with Lisa, even though he denies it. Eventually, Steve discovers Patrick and Lisa slept together and breaks things off with her. Steve feels he is not able to fire her later when she starts causing problems around the hospital and fears that she will sue him for sexual harassment, which Lisa threatens at one point. She wasn't just starting trouble. She was obnoxious, but okay. I feel like he would have been protected.
She became psychotic, right? Like she tried to kill Robin.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
So that was everything from the 1970s to 2000s. And then when was that? 2009? Or that didn't really give us a date. But then 2011 through 2013, in late December of 2010 and early January of 2011, see, now it says Stephen organizes a trip, a ski trip, sponsored by the hospital. His sister Elizabeth allows Stephen to take her son, Cameron Spencer, on the trip. See, I feel like it's the same thing with Liz. Some people call her Elizabeth, and I mean, yeah, whatever. We go back and forth too. It's different because we have names that you don't do that with.
Right.
So the bus going to the ski resort crashes. Both Stephen and Cam are okay, but Olivia Falconeri is badly injured. Steve stays with her and keeps her alive while they are awaiting rescue. After the ordeal, Steve and Olivia bond and get closer. They start dating. In July of 2011, Stephen is suspended indefinitely from his position of chief of staff. His sister Elizabeth had a breakdown after the death of her son, Jake Spencer, and Stephen had her assist in a surgery on her ex-husband, Lucky Spencer's new wife, Siobhan, before she was ready. Yeah.
Oops.
Elizabeth accidentally gave Siobhan the wrong medicine and almost killed her. Siobhan survived. After investigation, Steve is demoted. He is made the head of the ER trauma unit, and he recommends that Dr. Robin Scorpio Drake become the interim chief of staff. In October, Stephen and Olivia attend a congratulatory party that Patrick and Robin threw for Mad Hunter for his research getting published. Party is on a boat. Wasn't this on the Haunted Star? Or was it just a random boat? And unbeknownst to everyone, Anthony Zaccara has given Lisa Niles a drug to wake her up from the coma she's been in, and she too boards the boat. Maybe we shouldn't have killed Anthony Zaccara. He could have helped Lulu out here.
Right?
Lisa terrorizes everyone on board, and then she winds up dead. Everyone on the boat is a suspect. Stephen appears with a scratched up face and is acting oddly. The investigation goes on for months, and eventually the first mate of the boat, Briggs, confesses, then supposedly commits suicide. However, Maxie had asked Anthony to take care of the murder investigation because he believes that Matt was the one who killed Lisa, so it's not clear as to whether the first mate actually killed Lisa. And this is when she was dating Matt that she was suspecting him of murder.
Yeah.
Yikes. In November, Steve recommends Dr. Maggie Wurth be hired for the open pediatrician position at the hospital. Maggie and Steve had worked together in Memphis and had dated. When Maggie comes to town, she begins to flirt with Steve, and they reminisce about their time in Memphis. This makes Olivia jealous and nervous that she is trying to take Steve from her. It is revealed that Steve and Maggie have a secret, and that is why he wanted her to come so he could keep an eye on her so that she wouldn't let the secret out. Gradually, it is revealed that their secret is they were involved in a suspicious death, possibly murder, at the hospital in Memphis. Later, Steve tells Maggie that he has learned that the investigation into the death is being reopened. On March 12, 2012, Steve comes clean to Olivia about the secret he shares with Maggie. He tells her that in Memphis, He had a patient, a young man who was doing a life sentence for murder and in a coma, whom he deliberately killed so that a 14-year-old girl could get a transplant from him to save her life. In early 2012, Steve's mother, Heather Weber, is released from Ferncliff under Steve's watch. Okay, so did we not already learn that this doesn't go well? Okay. She eventually creates a lot of trouble for Steve, getting into several situations that Steve has to get her out of. This later causes problems for him and Olivia. Yep. Johnny Zakara later finds out about the patient Steve killed and blackmailed him into helping Johnny sell organs on the black market. After a while, Steve refuses and Johnny calls the Memphis police and they arrest him. I remember that. That was so sad.
Mm-hmm.
Dante travels to Memphis to help Steve, but he isn't released until Heather kills Maggie Wurth and makes it look like Maggie killed herself and was responsible for the patient in Memphis. As soon as Heather gets released from Ferncliff, Olivia is suspicious of her and continually tries to warn Steve about his mother. She believes that Heather is cured, and this is when she was having her premonitions. This is when she had the dog, and then there was one. What was the one that she had about Heather? I forget.
I don't know.
Steve believes that Heather is cured, and he says he wants to believe the best of her. When Heather steals Olivia's car and disappears in the middle of the night, Olivia decides to hire Damian Spinelli, a private investigator, to look into Heather's actions. Heather continues to lie about everything she's done, and eventually Olivia goes to her son, Detective Falconeri, to help investigate Heather. Sorry, I stopped reading that like halfway through, and I'm like, her son's not Steve, and he's not a detective. Talking about Olivia. When Steve finds this out, he is angry that Olivia went behind his back and tells her that he thinks they should take a break from their relationship. Olivia tells Steve she loves him, and he confesses his love for her too, but can't let go of his loyalty to his mother. When Heather injects Olivia with LSD, sending her into hallucinations and causing her to hold a knife to her throat, Steve is by her side and promises to send Heather back to Ferncliff where she will not hurt Olivia again. He is able to talk Olivia down from killing herself and supports her while she deals with the afterward side effects from being injected. Steve became concerned that Olivia's hallucinations meant that Heather had escaped Ferncliff again would come true. Indeed, Heather escaped. The latest two hallucinations / visions, here we go, is Steve being in the shower with nurse Sabrina Santiago and bleeding badly from his stomach. Steve said that the worst one might not come true because the shower vision hasn't come true either. However, Sabrina bumped into Steve with a big vase of flowers and soaked him with water, making the shower vision real, albeit more accidental than cheating, but same idea. On February 26th, after being thrown into the pier from Caleb, Heather survives it and goes to Steve's penthouse. Heather takes Olivia at knife point, but Steve comes home to discuss wedding details. This is when they were engaged. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we missed that whole part. This is the thing. We didn't have the time to go deep dive into this. Steve is stabbed and rushed to the hospital. He is able to be placed in the ICU, and Olivia says that she wants to marry now. Olivia gets Maxie to plan an eloped wedding in the ICU with Elizabeth as the maid of honor and best man. The pastor was in the "by the power vested in me" line when the Memphis police come in and says Steve is under arrest. He says he will not fight the charges and go to prison. Olivia begs Steve to finish the wedding and get married. However, he says he will not marry her now because it would be a bad start to a marriage. That's the arrest that I remember.
How sweet of him to be like, no, let's not get married if I'm getting arrested. That might put a damper on things.
Hey, it's better than the ones, hey, can you marry me so you can cover for me?
Nobody does that. What are you talking about? On October 28, 2022, Olivia has a bad feeling while at GH and turns around to see Heather being escorted by a guard and an orderly while wearing a prison uniform. Heather yells at Olivia about her son being in prison and makes jokes about LSD. On September 23rd, 2024, Elizabeth shares an update on her brother with her childhood friend and fellow medical professional, Dr. Terry Randolph. Stephen has been released from prison and settled down in Sedona, Arizona, where he's hoping to get a job in the medical field to continue using his skills and training. On October 24th, 2024, Steve returns to Port Charles to meet with Curtis Ashford, who wanted him to take his mother, Heather Weber, far away because Heather was being released from Pentonville due to the argument that a faulty hip replacement gave her cobalt poisoning, which led to her actions as the Hook. Steve hoped that his trip back to Port Charles wasn't about Heather, since Port Charles had a lot of bad memories for him, plus he's not a doctor anymore. What did he think it had to do with? Just some random guy was like, hey, bought you a plane ticket. You want to come back to Port Charles? Like, what do you mean he was hoping that wasn't what it was about?
Right. And it's not like Curtis works in the hospital or anything like that.
Right. Or anything medical to be like, oh, we're developing
why wouldn't you
products
ask first?
Right. As much
like, hey, I don't know who you are.
Why are you flying me back home? Anyway, Curtis said that he'd make it worth Steve's while if he agreed to take Heather, since he'd be all she has when Laura Collins cuts off Heather's access to her grandson, Ace Cassadine. Curtis told Steve that he wanted to protect his family and Steve needed to be with his. He then made an offer to Steve that he couldn't refuse, promising to supplement his income until he gets back on his feet, and threatens to use less pleasant measures if he refuses to take Heather away. Steve then went to Pentonville, where he sees his half-sister, Elizabeth Baldwin, with Heather, who was shocked and happy to see Steve for the first time in years.
Okay, that should read, Steve went to Pentonville as Heather was being released into, to meet Liz.
Right.
And neither of them had any idea that Steve was going to be there.
Right.
So I feel like they really left out a lot of Steve and Olivia's relationship. Right. We're just going to get a little bit into Steve. Well, not a little bit. We're going to cover Steve and Olivia. But this gives some background into that because it was mentioned also something Heather mentioned Olivia and people were like, wait, did you know that their nickname?
Seen Olivia's? Oh. Sorry. Have we seen Olivia's reaction to the fact that that Heather is out?
Nope. I mean, I didn't.
I feel like she would have something to say too.
Maybe. So did you know that their nickname is Stevia?
No, that's funny.
That one actually makes that makes sense. It's
yeah,
silly.
That's cute. I wouldn't mind that.
And they were together. They were lovers from 2011 to 2012, and they were engaged in 2012, and they had a broken engagement. I feel like that's an understatement. It's 2 seconds away from being married broken engagement.
Right.
And so a little bit of this does recap what we just talked about, where the love story between Steve and Olivia begins with the General Hospital ski trip, when the bus going to the ski resort crashes and both Steve and Cameron Weber are okay, but Olivia is badly injured. Steve stays with her and keeps her alive while they are awaiting rescue. She tells Steve that if she doesn't make it, he has to tell Dante that she loves him. Olivia is admitted to the hospital in critical condition and recovers. After the ordeal, Steve and Olivia bond and get closer. They begin to date, often having dinner at Olivia's loft and meeting up at Jake's to have some drinks and spend time together. In February, they attend the wedding of Sonny Corinthos and Brenda Barrett together, and in May, they made love for the first time. Olivia starts to learn more about Steve's past and inquires about his time working at a hospital in Memphis and why he left. Steve avoids answering her questions and changes the subject. Olivia seems suspicious, but doesn't question him any further. Over time, Steve is still shown to avoid talking about Memphis. In late September, during a picnic on the roof, Olivia mentions Memphis again, because you know that she showed up to that thing with a picnic basket and was like, you're working a double. Let me take you up on the roof and we can have a picnic.
Yes.
Anyway, Steve tries to avoid the question again. And then Olivia tells Steve that she doesn't want any secrets between them and asks him to tell her what happened in Memphis. Steve says that his time in Memphis was totally normal and that he isn't keeping any secrets from Olivia. Olivia's suspicions over Memphis grow when Steve's old girlfriend from Memphis, Maggie Wurth, arrives in town and they appear to have a secret between them.
In October, Stephen and Olivia attend a congratulatory party that Patrick and Robin threw for Matt Hunter for his research getting published. The party's on the boat, blah, blah, blah. We talked about this.
That's the same exact paragraph. Yeah, sorry.
Yep, that's okay. So then on November 3rd, Olivia almost faints when Lulu spends asks her if she might be pregnant, and she denies it. She leaves Christina's going away party so that she can rest and goes home. While at home, Olivia takes a pregnancy test, believing that she may be pregnant with Steve's child. However, before she can take the test, Steve comes over to check on her, so she quickly hides it. Olivia decides to cook dinner for Steve, and while she left to go prepare, Steve found her pregnancy test, but does not confront her about it. Instead, he puts it back where he found it and makes up an excuse to leave and not stay for dinner. Olivia, unaware that Steve saw the test, thinks nothing of it. After Steve left, Olivia takes the test, and right as she is about to look at the results, Sunny arrives, interrupting her. Olivia later took the test and discovered that she wasn't pregnant. When Steve confronted her at the hospital about finding the test, she told him that she was not pregnant. Steve recommends Maggie to be hired for the open pediatrician position at the hospital. Maggie begins flirting with Steve, and they reminisce about their time in Memphis. This makes Olivia jealous and nervous that she's trying to take Steve away from her. We talked about that. And their secret about their death. And then in February, Olivia accompanies Steve to a pulmonary research benefit at the Metro Court Hotel. After seeing Steve and Maggie whispering again, she blows up on them and demands to know what's going on. Maggie blurts out that they are having an affair, and Olivia grows angry, but hardly has time to react as Sunny is shot. Kate begins to break down over Sunny's shooting, and Olivia leaves with Kate to comfort her. Olivia later returns to Steve and Maggie at the hospital again, and Steve finally comes clean with her. He tells Olivia that he and Maggie are not having an affair and takes her into a conference room to finally tell her the truth. Steve admits that he killed one of his patients in Memphis deliberately. His patient, a prisoner, was on a life sentence and was in an irreversible coma, and Maggie had a patient that was 14 and needed a heart transplant. Steve's patient's heart was a match to Maggie's patient, so Steve killed his patient deliberately in order to give her the prisoner's heart. Olivia had a hard time accepting this and felt that it wasn't Steve's call to decide who lives and who dies.
So in April 2012,
Right.
Olivia and Steve, I keep wanting to say Scott, and it's not, even though that's his real name,
No?
continue to grow closer in their relationship. When Steve's scheming mother, Heather Weber, returns to town, Olivia instantly meets her at Steve's apartment. Heather isn't aware of the woman knowing her son and tries to stop Olivia from coming in. Steve stops Heather and introduces her to Olivia. After Steve leaves, Heather makes snide remarks and attempts to offer her some of her famous sweet tea. Olivia is suspicious of Heather and continually tries to warn Steve about his mother. Steve believes that Heather is cured and says that he wants to believe the best of her. Tired Spinelli, blah, blah, blah. Steve gets angry that Olivia had her trailed, and then Heather injected her with LSD. And then it just says, on January 4th, Steve and Olivia make love, and afterward, Steve proposes to Olivia, and she happily accepts. Olivia has a hallucination that Steve would be stabbed, and Elizabeth Weber tries to prevent this by poking him with a pen. Heather turns up alive and tries to kill Olivia. Olivia is kidnapped and held hostage with a knife. When Steve rescues Olivia, Heather stabs her son and later turns herself in. Steve is rushed to the hospital and survives the stabbing. Also, maybe he doesn't want to take home his mom that stabbed him.
Right? I feel like that might be something that's a little hard to get over.
Yeah. And then it just talks about again where Olivia overcome with emotions, demands that they wed now. Olivia gets Maxie Jones to plan an elope, and they're interrupted right as they were about to finish their vows with him being arrested and taken to prison in Memphis. I feel like he kind of has one of the shortest lists of crimes committed that we've seen so far.
Oh, murder.
Well, he helped Monica fake the death of AJ. Apparently, he did it between April 2005 and October 2012, but it was revealed in October 2012. He did murder the patient in Memphis, and he sold organs on the black market under the blackmail of Johnny Zaccara.
Right.
And he still doesn't even have a lot of health and vitals. He was slapped and threatened by his mother, Heather Weber, as a little boy, slapped by Carly Spencer, had a roof cave in on him, punched by Patrick Drake, rendered unconscious, and suffered minor injuries in a bus crash, held hostage at gunpoint by Dr. Lisa Niles, experienced a fever after ingesting the toxin Jerry Jacks had placed in the Port Charles water supply. That wasn't mentioned anywhere in any of this. Clobbered over the head by mother, Heather Weber, and rendered unconscious. And that was in October 2012. Stabbed in the stomach by Heather and underwent emergency surgery in February 2013. Bribed and then emotionally blackmailed by Curtis Ashford into taking Heather with him back to Sedona, Arizona when he leaves town again, just to give his genealogy and all that stuff like we like to do. He is of the Hardy, Moore, and Weber family. His parents are Jeff and Heather, Peter, Diana, and Carolyn. She never had any interaction with him, as far as we know. I don't consider that a stepmom.
No.
That's your dad's wife.
Yep.
His siblings are Franco Baldwin, Esme Prince, Sarah Weber, Heather Weber, Hayden Barnes, Tracy Taylor, Martha Taylor, and unknown child. Wow. So yeah, it was really nice to see him come back unexpectedly. I'm really, really thankful that I did not see that spoiler.
Yeah, me too. That was nice.
And I don't know how I didn't, because I follow him on Instagram too.
Maybe he loves us and he respects the no spoilers. So he didn't tell everyone just so that we wouldn't find out.
Maybe.
I'm sure that's what it is.
Oh no, he 100%. He released it the day before.
So at least he waited. I mean, at that point, if you read Hulu headlines, you had already seen it. So
that is true, because it says, tune in for my return to General Hospital tomorrow on ABC at 1 p.m. Central. So, yeah. Yeah, I guess that was just like a nice little recap of people being like, we always hear about him a little bit from Liz, and now we've seen that gorgeous face on the screen, so we need to do a little recap.
I like that it feels like he's avoiding Olivia. I would like him to see Olivia. Let's see what's going on there.
Mm-hmm.
See if there's still some sparks.
No, we don't need to do that. We don't need any
have like
part of that.
Fair. I was not telling her to cheat on Ned. I'm just saying there could still be that like, oh, I wish maybe things had been different.
Wish you hadn't murdered all those people.
Exactly.
No.
Okay.
All right. So join us on Monday as we recap this week's shows.
Have a good weekend.
And we'll meet you at the pier.
Bye.
Bye.
If you enjoyed today's show, we invite you to go to peer54podcast.com to subscribe on your favorite platform. Don't forget to leave us a review.
And you can also follow us on many social media channels. Just search for Peer 54 Podcast. Also, we are not perfect, so if there is something that we missed or messed up, just let us know by emailing us at peer54podcast@gmail.com.
LifeLock, how can I help?
The IRS said I
filed my return,
but I haven't.
1 in 4 tax-paying Americans has paid the price of identity fraud.
What do I do?
My refund, though. I'm freaking out.
Don't worry, I can fix this.
LifeLock fixes identity theft guaranteed and gets your money back with up to $3 million in coverage.
I'm so relieved.
No problem. I'll be with you every step of the way.
1 in 4 was a fraud-paying American. Not anymore. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit LifeLock.com/podcast. Terms apply.